Hello Moon Tides, this is Julie. Today I'm going to be trying something a little bit different. I'm going to be giving a reading for the 12 zodiac signs. And this reading is intended to be general guidance and insight for the new moon in Libra, which is today. While I'm recording this, it is the new moon in Libra. And then also that guidance to carry over into the rest of your fall season. You can hear the wind. I'm outside. It's Libra season. I don't have anywhere else to record at this point. And it's a Mercury retrograde. So you know what? We're just rolling with the punches and making the best of what we have. So if you'd like to keep listening, keep on listening. I'll leave notes on the time to where to skip to your sign. I do recommend that you listen to your sun and your rising and your moon, if that, and all of your big three, that's always worthwhile to kind of get a well-rounded approach and guidance. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do some goddess guidance. I'm using my goddess oracle deck for some general seasonal guidance. And then I'm going to be using Tarot of the Spirit to give a more specific insight on what might be coming up for you in this new lunar cycle for this new moon in Libra. And all of these insights are meant to be given with love and to nourish you. And everything should be taken with ease, and if it does not resonate, then it does not have to resonate, then it's not meant for you. So yeah, and this is my first time doing this, like I said, so yeah, we'll just see how it goes. I invite you to find a comfortable place where you can sit and listen. If you'd like to journal alongside or just listen and let the words resonate, either is okay. But yeah, it is nice to be able to just take especially during a reading, I find it's nice to just take the reading for what it is, and then afterwards you can listen again and take notes and reflect upon it in your own way. Okay, so let us begin with Aries. And while I'm shuffling, I invite you to just breathe deeply and try to say a prayer or connect to your guides. Try to just release your thoughts and your worries about what you have to do today, where you're going, and just allow yourself to become the open channel to receive the messages that are meant for you in this moment. Okay. Aries. Okay, so the goddess that has come up for you is Artemis. And her keyword in this deck is selfhood. And so this is your general guidance for the season, for the fall season. Here she is depicted with a bow and arrow. She is kneeling down, and she has a rabbit, a falcon, and a deer beside her. And so she's accompanied by wildlife, and she has this very, stern, serious, and determined look on her face. And so the guidance that is coming through for you for this fall season is to consider yourself, your own relationship to yourself. We think I'm just thinking in words that end in hood, right? Like selfhood, livelihood. What do those words, what does that signify to us? It's almost like, it's almost as if we often forget that, the act of just being ourselves and waking up every day and embodying our own self, we forget that that's a gift, and we forget that that's our biggest superpower, and that's what we are meant to fully embody in this lifetime, is our true self. And we can go our whole lives trying to uncover our true selves. If hopefully we go our whole lives trying to discover and uncover. And so this fall season, you might be faced with challenges and opportunities that make you reconsider, okay, how do I see myself? And how do I portray myself to the world around me? And is that a reflection of how I see myself internally? So this is a very solar plexus central energy. This is thinking about that ego, thinking about that balance between the divine masculine and divine feminine. And so this fall season, focus on, centering within. And maybe make a list of qualities about yourself that you really like, and then a list of qualities that you'd like to develop, that you'd like to work on. So let's see some more detailed guidance for this new moon in Libra. So the tarot card that has come up for you, Aries, is, of course, a Four of Fire. The title of this card is Flame of Spirit. So this signifies that you have come to completion of a cycle. You've come to completion of a certain stage of development, and this kind of foundation of good intentions that you've created is very strong, but you might kind of feel like you're moving on from that structure. You might kind of feel like there's something new. So this might be referring to a structure as in a community, maybe a group of friends, maybe a job, maybe something that you were thinking about, that you were building on to create a foundation for the future, and now you're thinking, maybe this isn't right for me. Maybe this isn't exactly what I had originally envisioned. And this isn't a bad thing. Sometimes that can be discouraging. It can make us feel really lost, but all this means is that you're kind of growing at an accelerated pace. It means that your own personal wheel of fortune is turning again. And so this is necessary for growth. Sometimes we feel like we outgrow things too quickly, and that's definitely a very Aries, moving on to the next thing. And so don't forget about the past or your past projects, or, the things you've cultivated that are really, blissful and bringing you happiness still. But at the same time, if there is a longing at all to kind of start the build again, then take that call, listen to that call. And so that intertwines with selfhood very well, in my opinion, because a lot of the times I think we set goals for ourselves, and then once we achieve those goals, we either feel really good about them and we let ourselves rest, or we're not satisfied and we keep trying to make them better and better. And it's important to, again, find that balance between the divine feminine and masculine. Maybe if you're not fully satisfied with what you've created, maybe you're being called to, take some space and hold some space for yourself and figure out, okay, what do I truly want? What does truly satisfy me? What do I truly desire? And that's that selfhood piece. What will satisfy you, yourself? And think about that and contemplate that, and then apply those things to your next big project, to your next greatest idea, to your next big improvement. Okay. Let us move on to Taurus. Taurus, so you've received the goddess Pele. This is the goddess. Her keyword is awakening. She is also a fire goddess. So awakening, that's awesome for the fall season. So with the turn of, the season and this equinox, I think, a lot of the times we perceive spring as the time where new life comes forth, right? Where new life comes forth, we have a resurgence of energy and all this stuff. And that's very true. But for fall as well, I think, and I guess it depends what hemisphere you're in, but right now in my reality, I'm sitting in a bed of fallen leaves. So this fall season, you are coming to some realizations. You are waking up. And you know what? This might be a rude awakening. It might be blissful, but more likely than not, it can feel a little bit hectic, especially because we are in the midst of a retrograde. So things can feel quite sticky right now and hiccupy and, muddled and confused. So, but the important thing to remember is that, yes, there are growing pains and things might feel off right now. Things might feel as if they're not quite in alignment. But a lot of the time when we are in a process of realization and truths are coming up, things will be foggy and things will not be clear for some time before they are clear. So no matter where you are in your experience of awakening, if you are just waking up from the dream and you're in that groggy, half sleep, half wake state, just sit with that and trust that it will change, it will move the energy. And if you if you woke up and you're, boom, I'm awake all of a sudden, and you're present and you've made some realizations and you've got, you have this burning feeling in your chest, yes, I understand now, then the first thing you should do is offer gratitude. This will help to avoid making any irrational decisions. But Taurus, as such a fixed sign that's perceived as stubborn a lot of the time, this is really great for you, because this is great that you are in the flow of change, and that might be really tough also because you crave stability and you want that comfort and that familiarity, but it's time to get comfortable in the unfamiliar space, and that's a very empowering thing to find comfort in. So your tarot card that's come up to help you gain some insight on what this new moon in Libra means for you, it is the 8 of Earth, so that's also known as the 8 of Pentacles. And the key term here is the Mountain. That's like what this deck calls that card. So this has to do with commitment and discipline and perseverance in the midst of trying to achieve success. So when in our world, talent is always seen as, the mystic thing, the thing that we want. We admire talent. But really, discipline and hard work, and Taurus, you know this, discipline and hard work is really where it's at. So this card signifies a time to be a student. And in the midst of this awakening you're experiencing, still remember that you are in a student position. I mean, we're all the student and we are all the teacher. But this is very a slow and steady wins the race, like taking one step at a time. So this awakening that you're experiencing, oh my gosh, my alarm, my apologies. This awakening that you are experiencing, no matter where you are in that timeline, it's really important to remember that every step matters. Whatever you do, big or small, it matters. And you do have to keep chugging and trucking along. And to have trust that, your guides are leading you towards an illumination. And so I think that if there's something that's on your mind lately that you haven't quite received results yet, but you've been working for a while, I think write about it, journal about it, set your intentions now, and align those intentions with the divine timing, the higher plan, because I have a feeling that some of those things may come to fruition under the illumination of this upcoming full moon. So at the end of this lunar cycle, this seems to me like a message from the divine being like, okay, almost. Maybe for the past few lunar cycles, like you've been really pushing for a certain thing. So I think the divine is saying almost there, but still value your studenthood, and keep moving towards, keep walking up that mountain. It's very interesting too with these cards. So Pele, the goddess, is her arms are facing upwards, lifting up to the sky, and she's in front of this like exploding volcano. And then the Eight of Earth, the Mountain card, is actually has this depiction of a mountain. It also kind of looks a bit like a teepee, but it's that triangle shape. So really this is all about like, yes, you have your sights set, or maybe it feels like you can't like see like the bigger picture of your journey, and know that you're like right now you're climbing a mountain and you're almost there. And once like you're more than halfway there. So, really just keep moving with discernment and pace and discipline and measure. Okay, that gust of wind means that Gemini is ready to be read. Gemini, you have received Baba Yaga. This is one of my favorite cards. So Baba Yaga is really a feisty gal. She is the wild woman energy. And so this fall, you are being called to emote, to feel. Things are going to come up and be uncovered for you, especially during this retrograde period right now, that ends, I believe, around October 18th. I am never good with dates, but I think it's sometime around then. So shadows are going to come up, and the way to illuminate and to work with those shadows is by embracing them instead of shutting them away. So if you're angry one day, do something that will get out your anger. If you're sad, if you feel weepy, cry those tears. This is a big dance it out card. So move that energy. There is energy that's coming up right now, and it's wild energy that's coming from the animal within, that's coming from all of the women before you. If you are a woman, if you identify with a woman, if you don't, Irregardless, that feminine energy in your ancestry and in your own being, we owe it to that, to fully express ourselves and to be wild and to participate and take the first steps in rewilding. And what does that mean? It really just means like owning and embodying all of the power that you were given. We all came into this world through someone's womb, and that is a magical, beautiful process that's like so mysterious and miraculous. And so that in itself is such a wild act, a wild experience. And so we honor that when we honor our own, inner wild desires. And so like this gets me thinking a lot about primal instincts, walking around barefoot, like oh gosh, if people who like actually are friends with me are listening to this, they're gonna laugh. But here's some of my tips for channeling your wild woman. Walk barefoot, stomp your feet on the ground, just go buck wild dancing, eat with your hands, like be primal, cook food over the fire, like really get in touch with all of the things that like you would probably do as a child or as a toddler that you don't really do anymore, because children are very like close to their wild nature, the idea of like a wild child. So yeah, this is a great card. This is like okay, permission to just release and move energies that have been stagnant for a while, and you know what those energies are. I'm not going to like make any assumptions, because all you Geminis who are listening know what's been stagnant for you for too long, because you're thinkers. You've thought about this, and if you haven't, then it's time to start thinking about it. Okay, so general guidance from Tarot of the Spirit for you Gemini is the Three of Water, also known as the Three of Cups. So the key word here is the stream of love. And so there are 3 cups in this image, and there is almost a moon like an illuminated full moon that's kind of light is pouring from that full moon into these 3 cups. So this is, it fits in perfectly with the Baba Yaga, the wild woman, because it has a lot to do with harmonious pleasure. And harmony is that key word that we see a lot in alignment with Libra. And so this is, okay, regardless of what's going on in your life right now, give yourself the space, a 3-hour window, an afternoon where you just bask in the pleasure and the joy of your own existence, of your own life. I think, I'm getting lots of positive energy from these cards for you Geminis. And I know this is general, so some of you may be like, hell yeah, I'm feeling great, and others might be like, absolutely not, this is ridiculous. And that's why I say listen to your rising and listen to your moon. But there is a really abundant energy coming through for you for this for this new moon in Libra. Wonder at creation, be awestruck, and be awestruck by yourself. This is it's beautiful to be alive no matter what's going on in our day-to-day experience. It's still always beautiful to just have life, to be alive, to have love, to be love. And so yeah, it's really all about abundance and celebration and unleashing that beast within that just wants to sing to the world. Very positive energies for you Gemini. Okay, Cancer. Yes, I am a Cancer. So this card makes sense for me right away. This is Pachamama. She is indigenous Native American goddess. She's Mother Earth. She embodies all seasons, all cyclical motions, and her keywords are healing, holing, and holy. So this fall, Cancers, you really are being not just asked, but you are being given an olive branch. You are being given an olive branch, and it's being handed to you from your inner self, from your true self, from your higher self, from your inner child. And that olive branch is saying to you, it's a peace offering, and it's saying you can put yourself first. You can heal yourself. You can take all of that external energy take all of that energy that you've been externalizing to the world and really trying to focus on healing the world, and turn your hands back towards yourself. Health issues may have been coming up lately in the fall, especially in a time where time management gets a lot harder, and sorry, just need some water. When time management gets harder and we start feeling that stress of balancing our energies between all of our tasks, all of our responsibilities, and all of our relationships. Yeah, it's fucking tough. So the guidance that we as Cancers are receiving is, yes, it's challenging, but we are the most well equipped of the signs, in a sense, to take care of ourselves. But so often that goes unnoticed and undeveloped and ignored, frankly. So what physically and emotionally do you need to focus on to make you feel better? Mother yourself. That's a big one. Okay, let's see for some tarot guidance for this Libra new moon for you, Cancer. Ooh. Interesting. Okay, 3 of Wind, also known as the 3 of Swords, and this is, the keyword here is recognition. So this is all about recognizing what might come up for you this lunar cycle, is recognizing your power, essentially, coming back into that Pachamama, being the most well-equipped to heal ourselves, recognizing that power is there. And it's kind of also an idea of balance, and karma comes into this card as well. Like the idea of giving up in order to gain and surrendering in order to achieve. So yeah, this is a bit of a, sorry, now I'm just, I'm like thinking in my own life, trying to apply it. But I think a lot of the times as Cancers, we do we do really want a recognition of all of the healing work that we do. And we're not going to get recognition from the outside world. Yes, we may have friends who, affirm us and are grateful and everything, but we have to be careful that that's not feeding the ego, and rather that we are giving ourselves the recognition we need so that we're not looking for it from an external source. Does that make sense? I think that kind of makes sense. And yeah, recognition is a word that I think a lot of cardinal signs really want and desire. And it's really important to remember that, yeah, this is that connection between the heart and the solar plexus. When we are using such healing and open-heartedness, it's easy for us to kind of start feeling like our life force is dwindling, and that life force being in the belly, being in the solar plexus. But we need to send that heart healing energy down towards that belly, you know? We need to send it towards ourself, to our ego, so that we aren't, again, looking for it from the outside world. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to Leo. Sheila Nagig. Sheila, the goddess of opening. So this fall, Leo, you are being asked to be vulnerable and to put yourself out there. And that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, put yourself out there and try to be seen in an attempt to be seen. This has to be a pure intention, you know, to open yourself to receive, to open yourself to the miracles of the universe, to open yourself to constructive criticism, to open yourself to humbling experiences that remind you that you are loved and you are valuable and you are respected, but also that remind you of how, you know, how big and small we are at the same time. We are, I say this a lot, we are the big picture disguised as the little picture. But it's really important to also, you know, remember that everything we do does have energetic ripples, and that is kind of like a responsibility and a reminder that we need to bring pure intentions to everything that we do in order to get the best results, and not just for ourselves, but for the world around us. And so opening our arms up to the possibilities of receiving and being vulnerable enough to receive. You know, a lot of the time I think I have lots of Leo in my chart, and it makes me want to take care of everything myself, do it. I can do this. I've got this. Watch me do it. And it can be really lonely sometimes. So this is a reminder that, like, by being vulnerable and opening ourselves up to maybe external help coming in, maybe there's a mentor that you think you could benefit from. You don't have to be a professional right away. You can train, you can study, you can get help, and you can stay open to the possibility of, you know, of sharing the responsibility and the credit, I guess. Yeah. Let's see, tarot guidance for you. For this new moon. Okay, the Ten of Water, also known as the Ten of Cups, and in this deck here, it's called the Fountain of Love. So in this new moon in Libra, this lunar cycle, there's going to be a wisdom unfolding. And so the idea of opening, if you work with that energy of opening yourself up to the vulnerability of accepting love, well, you're going to receive a whole lot of it. This is a time for deep sharing. This fountain of love is a place where everyone comes to drink and everyone comes to celebrate. And so community is really, really important here. This community aspect, this sort of life force that you are a part of, and it exists without you, but with you, it is even better, you know? And allow yourself to feel like you are worthy of being a part of that fountain of love, of partaking in that fountain of love. I'm feeling that that's good enough for Leo. Let's see. Virgo. Here we go. Goddess Sophia, the goddess of wisdom. She's depicted here holding a chalice with a dove coming out of it, very significant of the Holy Spirit in Christianity. She's also pregnant, and she has a crescent moon on her belly. And so, Virgo, this is what you are being called to tap into during this fall, is the wisdom of the season. You are an earth sign. You are in touch with earth's rhythms and earth's patterns and the song, that the trees make with the leaves, and the song that the grass has as you walk over it barefoot. So this energy, this is a very grounding energy to return to. And so get in touch with that wisdom of the season. Meditate on, what nature is showing us. What is nature telling us to do right now? A lot of the times I think that we like to snap from one season to the next, but fall, these transitional seasons, it does not snap from one state to the next. It shape shifts. Literally everything around us is shape shifting. The trees are shifting from these full green bodied beings into more, the leaves are falling. They're literally changing right before our eyes, but slowly. Birds, animals are migrating, but they don't teleport. It takes time. So really meditate on the wisdom of the season and what it means for you, and that will really help you, work through some things that might be coming up in your own being, in your own self. This is a beautiful offering. Let's see, tarot guidance. The sun, how beautiful. So under this new moon in Libra, and in this lunar cycle, what is going to come up for you is a great deal of love and pleasure and abundance. The sun card here is depicted, it's these beautiful oranges and yellow shades. The sun is looking down on a couple, on two people, and they're holding hands and they're smiling at each other. And so whatever hardships you still are experiencing from day to day, know that there is an abundance coming your way, and that abundance might very well be linked to a change of perception that will come from meditating on the wisdom that the earth is providing for you right now. And this is a very centering spread for you, Virgo. So when the mundane day-to-day craziness, retrograde stuff comes up and gets you down, return to that wisdom that you have inherently within you. It's there, you've felt its magic, it's always there, it's always available. And that shining sun, within you it's never going to go away, even though the sun is setting. sooner, and we're approaching winter, we're approaching the season, know that that sun is not going away. It is staying with you. As long as you continue to show gratitude for those, positive energies and abundant energies that are in your life, they will continue to shine throughout the season. The previous recording goes from Aries to Virgo, and so now we're going to go from Libra to Pisces. So let's begin with Libra. So the goddess that has popped up for you, Libra, is Minerva, and her keyword is beliefs. So this is a really, really telling energy to pop up in your own season, during a new moon in your season. It's a time to kind of reevaluate what you believe in, and our beliefs definitely shape our relationships and how we identify ourselves within partnerships. They definitely shape our perception of balance. And so the question here is, how can you reevaluate and reapproach your own belief systems so that they can find harmony in your day-to-day life? When we aren't being true to our belief systems, then things feel unbalanced. Things feel like the opposite of harmonious, which is chaotic. And especially right now, having the retrograde in your sign, Libra, is also, it's tough because it is causing that the redo, reevaluate, rewrite, the retrograde really makes us kind of revisit all of these things. And so maybe there are certain beliefs that you've had for a while, you've been upholding. Maybe these are limiting beliefs that are really coming up for you and stunting your ability to find balance. And so what is a limiting belief? It is something that it's a belief from inside of yourself that has a voice of fear that says, I can't do this, I don't deserve this, this isn't possible for me because blank. Well, the because is really a bunch of phooey. Like, there's no reason why you can't have all of the things that you want as long as you have the right intentions, right? So just to blend in now to the tarot guidance for specifically this new moon, you've received the Nine of Fire, also known as the Nine of Wands, and in this deck it's called the Eye of Fire, which is very, very cryptic and interesting. Sorry, I'm just getting distracted. So this signifies reaching or tuning into a proper frequency. And so this coming up alongside beliefs, I think that with this new moon will really allow you to tune into your own frequency, to the high frequency of your true beliefs that come from a place of love as opposed to a place of fear. This is, the Eye of Fire, clear sight, passionate sight. And so it's easy to be thrown off balance when other belief systems come in to play, when people tell you what you should believe or what is right and what is wrong. You are the only person. You have to come back to meditate on your own Eye of Fire, your own perception of what is right and what is wrong for you. It's important that we don't bring our own biases into other people's life experiences, But at the same time, when it comes to our own life experience, we also need to kind of stay unbiased and be objective and use that objective eye of fire that still is a driving force. It still, is informed by emotion and by experience. But at the same time, it sees a higher truth. Yeah, okay. And one other thing I think I want to add is, like, in terms of Libra season, and like the focus is always for everyone, not just Libras, but like during this season is like the focus is partnerships, relationships, and bringing harmony to and balance to those that maybe aren't so balanced or harmonious at this moment. But I think we need to reframe our beliefs and our thoughts about what a partnership really is. And I think a lot of the time we approach a new opportunity or a person with this, in the back of our heads, there's this question of like, I wonder what I can get out of this. That's like the voice of fear, the voice of scarcity that thinks, well, what can I get quickly out of this, and hold on to really tightly so it can never leave. But with Libra season, I think it's important for us to ask ourselves not what we can get from this, but what we can give in our partnerships, in our communities, in our friendships, and in our home, our families, so during this, and another thing is that during this, retrograde season, even though it's Libra season, which is, usually you get, glamour, like harmony, beauty, this very Venusian energy, but things might not feel so harmonious right now. And that is because we are experiencing a retrograde and because we are being asked to reconsider things. Our shadows are coming up. But balance is still being achieved in this season. It's just being achieved in a little bit of a roundabout way. And this means that day to day we're going to feel disoriented. We're going to feel disorganized. This is literally just the effect of the retrograde. And so as long as, and tying back to this beliefs, as long as we stay true to our beliefs and we use that eye of fire, that eye of discernment through emotion and experience, that's what's going to help us kind of come out of this intact. Okay. Now let us move on to Scorpio. So Scorpio, your goddess that has popped up for you for this seasonal guidance, fall guidance, is Sekhmet, the sun goddess of anger and rage. This is an Egyptian goddess. She's depicted as a lioness. And this is a reminder, Scorpio, that, you're very in tune with your shadows, whether you like it or not. This is the alchemy of your sign. And a big shadow aspect that a lot of us leaves like under the rug is anger. We are taught that anger is ugly, that anger is inappropriate, that anger is destructive. And yes, anger is destructive if we hold on to it. If we never express it, we will destroy ourselves with our own internalized anger. So this is a call to express that anger in a positive light, in a positive way. And maybe that is through, physical movement, taking, like, I know when I get really frustrated, I either dance it out or I actually punch a punching bag, because sometimes it just feels good to get that rage, that angry energy out. When anger resides in the body and it becomes stagnant, it turns into illness. It turns into bitterness. It turns into resentment. And it erodes our capacity for loving the world. And that's not what we want, right? And so your tarot card, Scorpio, that comes up for you is Mother Earth, which I think is so beautiful when paired with Sekhmet, this energy of anger and rage. And then under the new moon of Scorpio, what's coming up for you this cycle is this energy of Mother Earth, which is also, I believe it's equitable to the Empress card. And so this is the powerhouse, divine feminine, being responsible for the ones you love, and that includes yourself, and that includes the angry child within. And Mother Earth also, this this gentle energy, like there is a sweetness in acknowledging the bitterness, the bittersweet. It's all, this is a very bittersweet, so this is going to be a very bittersweet season for you, but there's something so satisfying about that flavor, is there not? There's something so satisfying and so raw and real and human about that. And so this new moon in Libra for you, I think it's a really important time to focus on the sweetness that you have, and focus on the good things that are being provided for you by the earth, by this infinite source of love that is always available to you, always, everyone, always. But don't let that become a band-aid for avoiding thinking about the things that really do bother you, the things that are angering you, those things that you've been holding on to. And as always, the way we need to treat that angry child within is to show it love. But the first step to showing someone love is giving it attention. And maybe that will sound silly, but I mean just seeing it, acknowledging it, like letting that anger be seen, letting it exist, giving it space, and then giving it love. Okay, let's move on to Sagittarius. Sag. Okay. So, Sag, your goddess guidance for this season is Tara, this goddess of centering. And so I'm going to tell you the story of Tara because it's one of my favorites that I've been learning about. And there's many different versions, but this is just the one that resonates with me the most. Her story is, this is her origin creation story. From the first teardrop of compassion, a lake was made, a pool was created, and in the center of that lake, a lotus flower blossomed. And as it opened, Tara was sitting inside. And so that origin story gives a lot of context to this idea of centering from our teardrops of compassion. So from a place of an act of compassion for ourselves, we can create a space that will hold the beauty and the fruit of pure presence, of pure centering. And so, Sag, this is, it's very easy, I think, for Sagittarius energy to just constantly be in chaos mode. And that's not, it's not a criticism. I just think that it is very easy for that energy to be in a chaos mode when it's not like, that trailblazing without direction. It can cause a wildfire, right? And so, especially in this fall season during this retrograde 2, finding those pockets of peace and centering yourself, Sag, is going to be so necessary. It's necessary for everyone, but like this is really what you need to cling on to. Find space where you can just sit. We need to carve out those pockets of peace throughout our days. They keep us sane. They keep us centered. And your tarot guidance is the Two of Water, so translating to the Two of Cups. And the key word here is, or the title of like that card in this, specific deck is Sacred Chord. And so this chord, like, again, that connects so well to the idea of centering. This idea of like finding the pathway, like pulling that cord. Like I'm imagining this. Sorry, noises, outside noises. I'm imagining this kind of visual, sitting on like a raft, floating in the middle of the lake, and pulling this sacred cord back to the center of that lotus flower. You know, we have that attachment. We always do. It's always there. This also plays into the idea of opposing forces merging. So light and dark, dry, wet, male, female, and this idea of connection. And so maybe the way to find centering isn't by like, you know, doing it in this artificial, like, you know, like Instagram way, you know, like, oh, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to have these candles and these crystals and these cards and yada, yada, yada. Maybe it's a meeting of opposition. Maybe you're just sitting at your desk and you have 5 minutes and you close your eyes and put your feet on the ground. Hold on, I'm just going to pause quickly. I don't have editing software, so you'll all hear me closing that window, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, so it's not going to, you know, pockets of peace don't have to look peaceful from the outside. All that matters is that they're peaceful from the inside. Yeah, I think I'll leave it at that for you, Sagittarius. Okay, now Capricorn. So your goddess guidance is the goddess Kuan Yin. This is the goddess of compassion. Such a beautiful goddess energy. It's a huge empath energy, compassion, empathy, like enduring love for humanity, for the joys and the sorrows of humanity. So this season, this fall season for you, and then also, you know, I think we can apply this to the retrograde season as well, because it is taking place in our fall. You need to move through the trials and tribulations with this compassion for yourself. Yes, for others, but for yourself, because Cap, you tend to be very hard on yourself, and you put the pressure on and yourself, and you hold yourself to a very, very high standard. And that's great, because it helps you stay motivated, helps you get places, but you can completely fall away from that place of self-compassion. And, you know, you just always have to remember that you deserve that. And it really ties into the tarot card that comes up for you is the Two of Wind, also known as the Two of Swords. And the word that it's described as here is the crossing. And so that really ties in, I think, for this new moon in Libra, you may be faced and you may be met with either one or multiple sort of decisions that you feel like you have to make, and that pressure of making those decisions, that crossing, the crossing of two paths, of two things, and trying to decide which one to take. But right now, you are in the X. You know, the X marks the spot. You are here. You can reside in that space of indecision as long as you want and as long as you need. I know external factors might put the pressure on, but compassion allows you to make that space of indecision expansive and explorative and empowering, as opposed to super like stressful freak out, what am I going to do, what's right, what's wrong. You can sit in the middle. And so the way to do that is through self-compassion, and so that's what's carrying you through this season. But for this new moon, know that decisions might come up. You might feel that push and pull, but know that there is safety within the crossing, and there is safety to reside in indecision. for some time. That is okay. And you know what? It's also necessary, because with this retrograde, you're going to want to spend more time discerning things instead of making snap decisions. Sometimes we know immediately, or we think F no, that's it. Or we think F yes, and that's it. But other times we have to really sit and discern and meditate on what it is we truly want. And again, coming back to that idea of evaluation, of reevaluation. You might feel 7,000 different ways about a decision in one day, and that's going to be exhausting. And so you know what you have to do. I'm going to tell you again, return back to that self-compassion. Like, take it easy on yourself. Don't be frustrated and feel silly or stupid or not doing the best you can because you can't get to a decision right away. That is so normal. It is so normal, and it is so healthy to not know what to do. That's what we need to normalize. Normalize not knowing what to do. That's funny. Okay. So now let's move on to Aquarius. Aquarius. Your cards are very dark. And not in a... Don't get scared. I'm just saying, like, visually, they're dark. So the goddess guidance that's come up for you, Aqua, is Demeter, this goddess of feelings and emotions. And this is really, really funny, because Demeter is totally this goddess of the harvest of a fall autumn time. This is quite honestly like a huge shadow work card. It has to do with feelings and emotion. That's the key word. I don't know if I said that already. The key word with Demeter, paired with Demeter, is feelings and emotions. And the card is very dark when she's holding this fire stick. I don't know why I can't think of the word. Whatever it's called, a torch. Oh my gosh, she's holding a torch, and the pomegranate, referring to her daughter Persephone, goddess of spring and of the underworld. So literally, her daughter is the goddess of the underworld, referring to this shadow realm, and in the fall is when she is saying goodbye to Persephone, her daughter of spring, of, joy, of exuberance, of light. And so I think with the turn of the season, Aquarius, it might feel like certain joys might be falling away, and you are being left with the shadows of those joys. Because every beautiful experience we have, truly beautiful, is also a little, there's something sorrowful about it. And that's what makes it like the most beautiful thing ever, is the fact that it's impermanent. The fact that it's not always going to be the same. It's not always going to be like that. And so the emotions that might be coming up right now might be those of grief, might be those of loss. But this is also pointing to, growth. This is necessary. This is part of the cycle. Literally, this is part of a seasonal cycle. Light starts dwindling, and we have to create our own light. And that's what Demeter is doing in this picture. She's holding that torch. She's creating her own light. And just because there isn't sun and light to make things to illuminate everything and make things visible, doesn't mean that things aren't growing. And so all of these emotions and growing pains that are coming up are really going to be such a healing experience. Aquarians like to be very objective. They can snap, but there is something to be said for sitting with these emotions as opposed to moving on because they are of the human realm. Humanity is going to sneak in there, whether you like it or not, because we are human. And so your tarot guidance for this season, which is or sorry, your tarot your tarot guidance for the Libra new moon specifically is Father Fire. So the King of Fire. And this is really awesome because I was talking about, we have to create our own light, hold our own torch, light our own fires. And so being prepared to light your own fire in the midst of winter, in the cold night, that's something that we can count on ourselves for. And especially Aquarians, you're independent. You can definitely light your own fire when you need to. You can survive. And so there's this great sense of conviction that comes with the Father Fire card, an energy surge. So despite these feelings and emotions that are coming up that might be damp and dark and difficult, triple D, there is, with this new moon in Libra, a sense of leadership, a sense of, I can do this, a sense of an energy surge and rapid movement towards a new way of knowing. So perhaps you are better equipped to deal with these shadows that have come up. And maybe they've come up before and you haven't known how to deal with them, but maybe they're coming up now and you're starting to realize, yeah, okay, I know how to deal with this. I know how to approach this. I know how to observe these thoughts objectively and still work through my emotions and honor them. It's important to remember not to burn ourselves out. When we do feel an energy surge, to remember that, yeah, we have this energy surge, we feel like we're capable and we can do this, but these emotions do need to be held with the same amount of reverence. And so rest is needed. And so take rest. All right. And now moving on to the final zodiac sign of the wheel and of this reading, Pisces. So Pisces, your goddess guidance for this season, for fall, is Yamaya. She is a Brazilian goddess, water goddess, of course, of surrender. You'll see in the image here, she has a tail. She is swimming. She's a mermaid figure. She's beautifully adorned with jewelry and a headdress and a magic wand, it seems. And so you are really being called to release any of your worries or unknowings, and just hand them over to the divine. Just give them up to God. This is a message that all of us need to hear. And so it makes sense that at the end, the final stage, the eldest of all the zodiac signs, the elder, you are receiving wisdom that is the all overarching wisdom, and that wisdom is to surrender. In the midst of all of the chaos of potential miscommunications, retrograde wildness, reprogramming, reevaluation, self-work, shadows coming up, all of this stuff that's just swirling and swirling endlessly, breathe out, surrender. Give and take your own breath. It's such a simple message, but it's so difficult to understand, and it's something that you will, and we all will, uncover layer by layer and understand layer by layer, and we'll forget it, and then we'll come back to it, and we'll forget it, and we'll come back to it. But I know for myself, lately I have really been working with surrender, and every yoga practice I've been having has involved me just putting my head to the mat for a long time, and sometimes crying, sometimes shedding tears, and just surrendering and giving that physical act of take this from me and help me, and I trust. And that's the big other key word that comes along with surrender, is trust. And so Pisces, your tarot guidance for the new moon in Libra is Mother Wind. And so this is really beautiful, this maternal image of a mother, of a caretaker, and then to involve that in our own thoughts. So a lot of the times our thoughts can dictate our perception of the world around us. And so Mother Wind is an energy of resolution, of commitment, and of clarity. And so with this new Libra moon, it's beautiful because it is an air sign and this is an air card. There is going to be a sense of clarity that perhaps comes from your willingness to surrender. Think of the bigger picture. This card, Mother Wind, calls us to see things globally rather than locally. So to expand and see the bigger picture, and perceive and know and trust that balance is being restored across the map. And it might not look different for every single person, but trust me, it's working. And I'm sure all of you listening are thinking, yeah, like you've been seeing things changing and shifting in everyone's lives, not just your own, everyone's lives around you. That's because balance is being restored, and the only thing we can really do is get out of the way of our own lives and surrender and trust and give it up to God. So that's my last little check mark to make sure that I've covered all of the signs, because it's a retrograde and I'm making lists left and right just to make sure. Thank you so much for listening. I would love to connect more with you. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me on Instagram at MoontidePoet. You can send me a message, and I'd love to connect. I'd love to chat. And if you enjoyed these horoscopes, if you appreciate them, please leave a comment, leave some sort of response, or just reach out to me, and I would really appreciate that. Okay, happy new moon, and I'm wishing you all a beautiful, beautiful, transformational season. Bye.